News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in the Manhattan area, 91 degrees, a few clouds in the sky, wind gusting as high as 24 out of the south. 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms later this afternoon into the evening. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms likely before 4 a.m. That chance of precipitation at 80%. South wind of 5 to 15 miles an hour and an overnight low of 71. More chance for rain and thunderstorms tomorrow before 10 in the morning. That chance at 60%. Another chance for rain on Tuesday night. We're getting set for the game here on News Radio KMAN.
Weather on News Radio KMAN is brought to you by Sunset Zoo. Memberships are a fun way to experience the zoo. Pick up your membership and enjoy the Sunset Zoo all year long.
The following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. It's game time. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
All right, so if you're keeping track at home, you know that we are now exactly 2 months away from K-State football. Like, nobody's counting. Well, I am. As a matter of fact, 60 days, 18 hours, 52 minutes, and 21 seconds from right now. That ball's going up in the air. Aviva Stadium Aer Lingus College Football Classic on August 23rd. Dublin, Ireland. K-State, Iowa State Farm-O-Geddon to kick off the 2025 college football season. Welcome to the game. It's a whole new week. Mitch Fortner and Cole Dutchendorf with you until 6 o'clock. Very much looking forward to hour number 2, K-State Classics with Cole, the 2002 USC game. It is obviously well known for the block PAT that was returned for 2 points by Terrence Newman. What about everything else that was around that game? Does anybody remember how that game broke down, how K-State won that game, how competitive it was? Who all remembers the details? If you don't, I kind of did. Remembered a few things here and there. I rewatched the game this weekend as well. I forgot a few things. So we're flashing back to September of 2002, coming up in hour number 2. Plus, this Friday, it is our 6th annual Gamey Awards. We will have 12 categories, 12 winners announced on Friday, and we are going to start rolling out those nominations with 3 award nominations being announced coming up at 5:10. 2 months away from K-State football. Of course, it's happening a little bit earlier this week now. I don't mean to sound like a little bit of a Debbie Downer, but I'm okay with it taking its time to get here. I'm okay with that. Take your time. Look, we just had a lot of sports wrap up. I understand. I love football season getting here. Look, I got a couple of trips planned. I got some concerts going on. I got plenty on my schedule to keep me busy until August 23rd rolls around. Now, still, there's not a whole lot of details we can tell you quite yet. I know the people that run the game, I think they're either going to announce it or maybe it's still a work in progress. But there's going to be like designated pubs for K-State, designated pubs for Iowa State. They're kind of keeping it real soccer style. Let's keep the fan bases separated. And if the hooligans want to meet up the streets, maybe there's a neutral zone somewhere. I don't know how this whole layout works, but it feels real soccer style. We don't need no fights in the pubs. We keep it outside in Dublin, Ireland, over there in Europe. But I'm not sure where or what those pubs are going to be. We do know PowerCat Game Day will be broadcasting live from Dublin, Ireland on August 23rd. And if you've looked around, not sure when the Lions came out, but if you've looked around, K-State is, as of right now, the favorite going into the game. As we are now 2 months away, wherever you look, K-State's either a 3 or a 3.5 point favorite as we're counting down the days.
Which for game 1, week 0 of the college football season, I think that's a pretty solid line.
You think it's pretty solid?
Given all of how different teams are now between seasons. Although, honestly, there's a decent amount of continuity between both Iowa State and K-State, it feels like, as we head into next season. Not like riddled with transfers like some of the other Big 12 schools.
And I saw this over the weekend. Every summer, which, we're working out the details right now on when to have them on, Phil Steele always puts out a college football preview magazine. I think his this year's already out. And I without having the magazine yet, it's in the mail. I did see that he's got Iowa State ahead of K-State.
Really?
To win the Big 12. Without interviewing Phil Steele, which I love his magazine. I mean, it's just jam-packed with notes, jam-packed with stats. And I can't imagine this day and age how hard his job must be to put all that together and then put it on sale at a decent time, like well ahead of the college football season. As a matter of fact, it feels like it's out a little bit earlier than it normally is because of the transfer portal. He's going to have to pay attention to this sport more than he probably ever had to. It used to be probably a pretty easy database. You knew who was coming back, maybe a few transfers here and there, and now everybody's transferring and trying to put out this magazine every year, or you can just order it online. Has to be a pretty tough task. I don't have Iowa State winning the Big 12 this year. But if I were to guess on what Phil Steele may be kind of relying on with Iowa State, even though they're going to be replacing a ton of talent, an Iowa State defense under Matt Campbell is typically pretty good. Probably reload, and they're going to be good enough to be overrated again. But like I mentioned, what would we do this a month ago when we power ranked post-spring Big 12 teams? Look, I do think they're a sleeper. They were in the Big 12 championship game last year. Rocco Becht is back. Rocco Becht is up there as one of the top quarterbacks in the Big 12 if you want to talk about potential to be picked up in the NFL draft. Okay. Look what happened the last time an Iowa State Cyclone went in the NFL draft as a quarterback. He was Mr. Irrelevant. Now he just signed a big old contract with the San Francisco 49ers. I did not see that coming. So maybe Phil Steele sees a little something about Iowa State. The one thing I would say about Iowa State, they do have a favorable schedule. And maybe that is the big caveat here, that maybe we should be paying attention more. I mean, it's fair. We should be paying attention more to who's playing who, the unbalanced scheduling, and Iowa State might have been the benefactor at a good time to be a benefactor of this, of a favorable schedule. They have games against, I should say, maybe not, when I say favorable schedule, they have schedule balance. All their tough games are at home, which is the most you could ask for. They're going to play some tough teams. They're going to play Arizona State. They're going to play K-State. It's either at home or it's in Ireland where there's going to be a ton of fans there. Right. Another example of, maybe a sleeper that we should be watching, but maybe really what we need to consider schedule is TCU. TCU is returning the most profitable quarterback, and I'm talking about yardage, I'm talking about points, in the Big 12 last year in Josh Hoover. Now, I thought their defense was better than how it was kind of portrayed a year ago. Their rush offense has to be a lot better, but schedule-wise, I'm going to have to pull this up, but right out of the gate, it's the second time in 3 years, right out of the gate, they're facing an opponent who just went through a pretty polarizing coaching change. Because a couple of years ago, here comes Deion Sanders, here comes the Colorado Buffaloes, who didn't turn out to be very good, but it was so national attention. And Dylan Edwards, Shadur Sanders, here comes Deion Sanders into Fort Worth, Texas, and it's the biggest game of the weekend. Colorado TCU, the biggest game of the weekend. Well, this year it's North Carolina and Bill Belichick and Jordan, what's her name? If you are sick of Taylor Swift, how many crowd shots, how many camera shots are we getting of Bill Belichick's girlfriend week
That's
1.
That's got to be a pretty high over-under.
Which, by the way, talk about big game, that's on a Monday. That's when the NFL's not playing yet. We're talking week 1, not week 0. It's on a Monday. I mean, TCU, North Carolina, unless we got Bill Belichick in the mix, this is not an interesting football game. If his girlfriend isn't going to be shown on camera twice every quarter, is there a whole lot of interest in this game? Nope, because Bill Belichick is the head coach. Boom, right there. You got yourself a pretty interesting game now that he's, in his late 70s. He's got a super young girlfriend, and now he's back coaching at the college level, which, look, if you're at the NFL level, you get canned. If college is your only option, this day and age, hell no.
I think it's going to be super interesting to watch his transition to college football. There's just so many fascinating things about probably the greatest NFL head coach of all time, or at least undoubtedly in that top 2-3 range, to make his transition after a very long time with the Patriots and just take over North Carolina with everything surrounding college sports currently. I think probably college is the most like the NFL that it's ever been in terms of money and contracts with NIL and stuff. But it's just it'll be interesting to watch the entire North Carolina season unfold with Coach Belichick at the reins.
Look, here's why I was a bit hesitant on TCU. Again, just bring up the scheduling part of this conversation. They open up with North Carolina. They're going to play SMU in the same non-conference, so they're playing 2 ACC programs. And then right out the gate in the Big 12, Arizona State on the road. They're my favorites right now to win the Big 12. They host Colorado. I have no idea how good Colorado is going to be. They're coming here to Manhattan. They're going to play K-State. And then they play Baylor. West Virginia, we'll see. And then it's Iowa State. And then it's BYU. Like, it is like they are playing all the top teams.
Yeah.
Right there is a case where, okay, maybe personnel-wise they're a sleeper. Schedule-wise, they're facing one of the biggest gauntlets in the Big 12 has to offer probably this season.
Not to mention, as you said, the non-conference isn't as easy as probably a lot of other Big 12 teams as well.
Like K-State's schedule, the way it's played out this year, Iowa State is one of the biggest games of the year. Neutral site, it's going to be like a bowl game atmosphere. Again, 2 months away. Very much looking forward to that trip. Never been to Dublin, never been in a other country. Look, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you're planning your trip, I would highly do so now. I think the way prices change in the U.S. compared to internationally, typically when you're 2 months to a month out, it's like the best time to book a flight. I've heard internationally it's not the best. Now, I don't have a lot of experience in that, but I've heard the prices have gone up. So I would suggest doing that now if you have not done so yet. But K-State's biggest threats are no doubt going to be on the road. Feel very good about K-State's home schedule. They should go undefeated on the road, and especially a game against Baylor. You know, have your nerves about the KU game? Certainly. But it's kind of a typical what you normally feel when you're in a Big 12 schedule is, yeah, you're going to probably take some lumps on the road. You expect K-State to win at home. But it all starts on August 23rd. You have one more thing? Okay. Before I take a break, I wanted to send out a congratulations. This past Friday, it was super hot, but we are all out at Briggs Auto Lane to award a winner. Somebody won an all-expenses-paid trip to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico from U-Stop Phillips 66, the Friendship House in Wamego, and News Radio KMAN. Now, I got to be on the mic to announce or help announce the winner. It was really done by random drawing, where we found 15 finalists from all the finalists that were there, and they all got a key. And there was only one key that was going to open up a treasure chest to the winner for Cabo San Lucas, and it happened to be the very last person to get a key.
And the first person to unlock the chest.
Because I got on the microphone, I was like, all right, we got our keys, we got our 15 people that can win. Who wants to go first? Well, the guy that picked it, the last key is like, well, I might as well go. He popped that lock. I was like, holy, I was legit surprised. There was not a whole lot of drama. It was the first guy to go up there, and he unlocked.
And I was thankful, man. If we would have been standing there for, 10, 11 keys, it was already warming up.
That was a long day.
It was a little toasty outside.
I mean, it was 97 heat index over 100. Yeah, I mean,
pretty windy,
we
too.
did not have,
actually, the wind helped tremendously.
A little bit. But I want to thank all of our sponsors, including USOP Phillips 66 and the Friendship House. Our winner, Annie McFarland from right here in Manhattan. Also, we could not have done this without our friends from Adair Law, Parker Hannafin, Midland Exteriors, and Brown Shoe Fit. Now, there was a moment on Friday's extravaganza, our second annual, giving away a big old trip to Paradise for somebody here locally. You know, there's a point I was like, you know what? I got some extra tickets.
Sure.
To the home opener, not the game in Dublin, the home opener August 30th against North Dakota. I was like, let me give a pair of tickets away. You know, it was like right before we were starting to give away the sponsored prizes. And everybody's like, all right. So I put together a game of over-under. I was like, all right, this is something that, okay, this is over-under like numbers from last season that, you know, if you paid attention to the season, you kind of have an idea of what happened. And you have a 50-50 chance of getting this right. So I was like, all right, give me 10 people right here, right now. So people come running up, getting involved in this game. I was like, all right, so I'm going to ask you these questions, and I'm going to give you a number. That number is not true. The real number is either higher or lower. And based on your choice, higher or lower, they had to stand on one side of this line. What was the first question I asked? How many games the Cats won last year?
Really?
It really is a layup. Well, 80% of the people said higher, and I said the number was 10. Well, that's not the right answer. What was the correct answer? How many wins did K-State have last year? 9. I literally lost almost all of my contestants on the very first question. On the very first question. And then the second question comes up, and it was the KU series where it extend, the number it extended to consecutive wins. One gal took higher, one gal took lower, and the game was over in 2 questions. I felt like my game failed because it could have been really good.
Did you have like a lot more questions planned? Like it only lasted 2 questions. You probably had a ton, didn't you?
I had like 15.
15.
I had like 15 ready to go, and we got to 2 of them.
Like what were some of them?
Let's take a break. Okay, we'll make a game out of this. Cole, let's see if you could do better than the folks at Briggs Auto Lane.
I sure hope so.
On winning some tickets. Okay, we'll go because I have them. Let me double check here and make sure I still have them saved. Because if not, I got them.
There we go.
We'll play a little over under when we come back.
I'm nervous.
2 months away from K-State football.
I don't have tickets on the line though. So.
No, you don't. But we'll see how you do. I mean, they get tougher as they go. I mean, I opened up with the softballs, like, let's get warmed up, get in, understand how the game works, which I felt like I explained the rules pretty clearly. But things happen. Maybe there's still a little bit of confusion. All right, K-State football, over, under. We'll play a little game when we come back on the game.
You're in the game on News Radio KMAN.
Can you help me access my work computer now that I'm working from home?
We can do that. Is it possible for you to troubleshoot my computer without me coming into your store? We can do that.
I'm getting messages that my password's been compromised by hackers.
We can.
And that I have malware installed.
We can.
I don't even go to the mall.
We can do all of that.
Fox Business Systems business level support. We can do that.
Call 776-1452 or stop by 531 Fort Riley Boulevard. WeBuildSolutions.com.
At McCown Gordon Construction, we improve lives by building authentic relationships. No matter the project size, our clients enjoy unmatched talent and resources in the Manhattan area market. Early collaboration with our pre-construction team ensures cost certainty, preventing surprises. Whether it's new construction or expansion, our team simplifies complex projects. We build to serve the community. McCown Gordon Construction, proud builder for K-State and the KSU Foundation. Visit McCownGordon.com.
Join Steel and Pipe Supply Company for Tastes and Tunes at Fiesta to Remember on Friday, July 11th from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. at Rockin' K's. A portion of the proceeds will go to benefit Meadowlark Memory Program, which provides free services to those affected by cognitive changes and dementia in the Flint Hills region. We'll have a lunch taco buffet and order off the main or special taco menus all day. For more information, visit meadowlark.org. It's a Fiesta to Remember, benefiting Meadowlark Memory Program, Friday, July 11th at Rockin' K's.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The Lakers have never lacked star power, but now they've got a new kind of muscle, financial. The Buss family has reportedly reached an agreement to sell majority ownership of the Lakers to billionaire Mark Walter for a jaw-dropping $10 billion. Jeannie Buss will continue her role as team governor, but make no mistake, if Walter brings his Dodger playbook to the hardwood, expect some changes in L.A. Walter's ownership of the Dodgers has been defined by one thing: spending smart, spending often. The Dodgers have been a modern sports powerhouse by building elite infrastructure, investing heavily in scouting and analytics, and yes, spending on big stars. In an NBA era defined by the luxury tax, second aprons, that kind of deep-pocketed ownership is a weapon. Golden State proved that. For years, the Warriors spent their way to a dynasty. Walter could give the Lakers that same edge. Right now, there's a whole new chapter, one where cash is king and contention is expected. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Get your morning started with KMAN's Morning News, weekdays at 6.
You gotta love all of the projects. It's at least a sign that, yep, some things are getting done. Frustrating or not, look at it that way. Look for the positive of it. Things are getting done. Things are getting accomplished. It just doesn't look all that pretty when it's happening.
Yeah, Manhattan's always working on herself.
Good advice for us all, right?
KMAN's Morning News, weekday mornings, 6 to 9 on News Radio, KMAN.
I'm Cole Beschendorf with the Game Sports Update. Jose Iglesias tied the game with a 2-run, 2-out, bases loaded, pinch hit single in the 7th inning, and then drove in the winning run with the grounder in the 9th for the San Diego Padres, who beat the Kansas City Royals 3-2 on Sunday to take 2 of 3. Iglesias hit a soft bouncer to shortstop Bobby Witt Jr., who fielded it, spun around, and threw home too late to get Luis Arias. Salvador Perez hit a 2-run homer for the Royals, and phenom Jack Caglione leaped and got his glove over the right field wall to rob Jackson Morrell of a 2-run home run in the 8th. Seth Lugo, who pitched for the Padres in 2023, was brilliant in retiring 8 straight batters after allowing Fernando Tatis's leadoff single. Tomorrow, it'll be Chris Bubich is scheduled to start in the opener of a 3-game home series against Tampa Bay. LSU knocked previously unbeaten Coastal Carolina ace Jacob Morrison out of the game with the 4-run 4th inning, and the Tigers won their second national title in 3 years Sunday with a 5-3 victory in the College World Series Finals. The Tigers completed a 2-game sweep over the Chanticleers, who entered the finals on a 26-game win streak, and on Sunday saw Coach Kevin Schnall and first base coach Matt Schilling ejected in the bottom of the 1st inning. It's the SEC's 6th straight national title and 11th in 16 years.
It's hour one of the game. Mitch and Cole. 6th Annual Gamey Award nominations, part 1 in hour number 2. Plus K-State Classics with Cole, the 2002 USC game. Who remembers what happened outside of Terrence Newman's blocked PAT that was returned for 2 points. K-State, of course, won the game. That was a 4-0 start for the Cats. Pete Carroll and the Trojans were here in Manhattan, and Pete Carroll called it the loudest environment he had ever been. He had ever played in front of, and that's coming up in hour number 2. Before we took a break, Cole was asking me, as I kind of had a failed K-State football over-under game take place this past Friday, as we were giving away a trip to Cabo San Lucas at Briggs Auto Lane, that if I had any other questions, and yeah, I have plenty of questions because we only got 2 questions in and the game was over. It was the shortest game of over-under in the history of sports. So here are some other questions. Like, I had more softballs in here that I didn't even get to. Like, for example, because I told you, okay, so the rules are, as we play this game here, that get to some of the questions I wasn't able to ask because the game went so quickly. So I'll give the question, I'll make the statement rather. Like, for example, I'll use my next question as the example. Avery Johnson last season wore number 3. But number 3 is not the right number. Is that real number over or under 3?
Why am I low-key getting confused if it's 2 or 5? I feel like it was... He did change at one point, didn't he? Wasn't he 1 and then he changed it to a different one? Is that correct?
You wanted to play the game, man.
Oh man, I'm scared, man. I mean 2 feels right, but I don't remember if it was a maze number with 5, and I'm just getting a little dyslexic trying to think about it. Under? Is it 2?
Yes, it's
okay.
Under.
I was thinking 5 for some reason.
Well, man. Maybe you would have been a little bit shaky up there too. Maybe the heat was getting
nerve-wracking, man.
The heat was getting everybody's minds.
I was second guessing myself.
But you were right, because Avery did wear number 5.
Okay, that's what I thought.
As a freshman. Last year as a sophomore, he switched to number 2. 2 is the number he wore at Mays.
Okay.
So, I mean, hell, you got all your NIL playmaking top dogs 0, 1, 2, 3. Because Lincoln Kier is going to be number 0.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 is Jace Brown. Number 2, Avery Johnson. Number 3, Dylan Edwards.
Yep.
Pretty easy to remember if you ask me.
Yep. Now I'm good.
Okay, so then the next question was Avery Johnson throwing touchdowns at 27. Was the real number over or under 27?
26 feels right, so I'd say under.
It was under, but 25.
25? Okay.
He broke the record by 1 touchdown last year. 44 points. Well, I think I just blew it. 42 points in the Rate Bowl. Is the real number over or under 42?
I would have gotten that as over. I would have gotten that one.
44 points in the Rate Bowl. I blew that one. All right, tight end touchdowns last year. These are touchdown catches by K-State tight ends last year. 11 touchdowns. Was the real number over or under 11?
Pretty confident this one is over. I believe it was 12.
I think it led the country. It was 13 touchdowns by tight ends.
They were so good, man.
Another way to remember that. Avery Johnson, 25 touchdowns. The majority, 2 tight ends. 13.
Which is crazy.
12 to running backs and wide receivers.
Such weapons in the red zone, man. And it's only going to get better.
Dylan Edwards rushing touchdowns last year. 6. Is the real number over or under? Now it gets tougher, right?
Yeah.
Now it gets tougher.
That one's one I got to think about. But since we did those Big 12 running back power rankings, I was looking through everyone's stats. I believe he had 5 rushing touchdowns last year.
Yeah, 5 is correct.
Okay.
5 rushing touchdowns for Dylan Edwards. You got that one. All right, let's see how many more I have.
But that,
here.
I mean, if I wouldn't have looked that up, that would have been very difficult.
We have not had a defensive one, I believe.
And I feel like defensive side, that could get pretty hairy too.
All right, so who was the when it comes to Pro Football Focus, the best returning defensive player linebacker in the country this year? Austin Romaine.
Mm-hmm.
He's back for his junior season. Austin Romaine last season had exactly 100 tackles. Is the real number over or under 100?
Now you're getting into the murky waters where it's at this point it's basically, I mean, it's a guess, maybe a little bit of an educated guess, but it's probably leaning more towards the guess than it is the education side of that. Triple digits sounds right, so I would say over.
You got one wrong.
Okay.
It was
there
under
is.
96 tackles, Austin Romaine last year, but could he hit triple digits this year?
I think for sure. After one more year under his belt in that K-State defensive system, and now he's the guy. I mean, I think he'll hit triple digits.
All right, let's see. I got a handful more here. DJ Giddens ran for 1,410 yards last year. Is the real number over or under 1,410? And again, this was like I was expecting, at this point to maybe have 3 or 4 contestants left. People, some getting lucky, some no. And now we're really
maybe a little bit of following
herd.
after the crowd a little bit. That's what I was worried about, was people just copying the other person. 14 in the 20s sounds right, so I would say over 1410.
It was under.
Under, so 0 for 2 for the last 2.
It was under 1,343 yards for
1420
DJ
just sounded so right. Man, tricked myself.
Let's see, got a couple more here. Jace Brown. 4 receiving touchdowns last year. Over or under the real number 4?
Man, I would think surely it's got to be over. I mean, I think he had 2 in the Iowa State game alone. He had 1, obviously, with the Colorado touchdown. Unless I just remembered all 3 of his receiving touchdowns, I think it's got to be over.
It's over.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say that would have been embarrassing.
He had 1. Let's see. The Oklahoma State game. It was a big bomb, like the defensive back fell down for the Cowboys, and he was just wide open. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Colorado. Mm-hmm. Was there 2 against Iowa State?
I think there was.
The game after, apparently it was announced he's going to be transferring. Boy, that's a great question. What was the other game? If it would have had,
was there one in the Rate Bowl against Rutgers?
Yeah, see, maybe. I just know Dylan Edwards had a bunch.
Right. Like, was there a tight end touchdown
in?
I don't remember.
Let's see here. No, golly, I'm absolutely blanking on what that last touchdown could have been, or what game that could have been in. Man, come back to me on that one, because now I'm Houston. Maybe Houston. Cole had to answer the phone. Before we continue, I do want to give everybody a heads up that we are potentially going to be experiencing some severe weather tonight, and it could be starting as early as now. It could be lasting for a few hours. So right now, Cole's answering the phone. It could have something to do with that, so we'll pause on our game for right now. Not much we can do right now, but I do want to give everybody a big heads up on that. As we approach 5 o'clock, there will be a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms through our area. And right now, Manhattan is going to start experiencing most likely a thunderstorm. Keats right now all the way down to Junction City and over to the west to Chapman is a line of storms that I would not be surprised if there is, which right now there's no watches that have been designated for our area. If there is a severe thunderstorm, if this storm continues to strengthen, there might be one that pops. But right now, to the west and southwest of Manhattan is a significant thunderstorm. All right. We're good? Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. So nothing has popped up yet. I was telling everybody to just be a heads up of severe weather. So a couple left. K-State playing in Dublin overseas. That is the 3rd time in program history. The 3rd time in program history, K-State football will play a game overseas. Is that number over or under 3?
I remember seeing a YouTube video about Japan hating K-State because of a game way back when against Oklahoma or something. I don't even know if they actually played that, because I feel like if they didn't play in Japan or something, I don't know. I'm rambling. Surely it's not over 3. I mean, I'd have to go under here.
So everybody calm down. There's a reason we do K-State Classics with Cole. We're educating the kid. So you're thinking 1992, Nebraska in the Coca-Cola Classic in Tokyo, Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, K-State lost that game. That is not a game, which I don't even know. I've never seen a copy of the game out there. I don't know if it could be on YouTube. I don't know. It is under. It is under. This will be the second time KSU will be playing overseas. And then the final one, PowerCat Game Day is about to start its 31st season. Is the real number over or under 31?
I'm just going to hope that it's like the 30th anniversary, and we'll go with the under.
It is the 30th season of PowerCat Game Day that will be kicking off in Dublin, Ireland.
That's pretty electric.
Yeah.
Doesn't get much better than that.
All right, we'll take a timeout. Again, we are keeping an eye on severe weather. Potentially something could pop up as early as now. It looks like Wamego right now dealing with a bit of rain, possibly a thunderstorm. And right now entering the Manhattan area, also to the west and to the southwest, is a bit of a significant thunderstorm as well. And we do see a cell right now brewing as well. Let's see, just southwest of Salina that is potentially moving this way. So for a while here, we do have a chance of severe weather in our area. Keep it locked here to News Radio KMAN for severe weather coverage. 6th Annual Gamey Award nominations, Part 1, coming up in hour number 2, along with K-State Classics with Cole. We'll take a timeout. More of the game is next.
Your home for K-State sports.
Throwing it upward. Coleman makes the catch at the 5. Touchdown, K-State! Touchdown, K-State! Touchdown, K-State! Touchdown, K-State! It was a broken play! A broken play!
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
You know how easy it is to get an exterior remodeling contractor on the phone? Voicemails, no callbacks, change numbers. They're here 1 minute and gone the next. Not at Midland Exteriors. We're easy to reach. We call it our call us anytime care. Because we're always just a phone call away. When you first reach out, a real human answers. During your project, we actually keep you in the loop and address issues before they become problems. If we miss your call, we'll call you right back. And if there's ever any issue, our owner Jamie gives out his personal cell phone number, nights, weekends, even holidays. Because if something's wrong with our work, we fix it, period. Experience real peace of mind. Call Midland Exteriors at 855-735-8255 or visit midlandexteriors.com. That's 855-735-8255 or midlandexteriors.com. Midland Exteriors, real people, real follow through.
Manhattan Broadcasting is an equal opportunity employer. In order to widely publicize our job opportunities and outreach programs and organizations that regularly distribute information to job seekers or refers candidates to employers, please contact us about our employment contact list to receive the most current information about station vacancies. For more information or to be added to the list, please contact Manhattan Broadcasting Company at 785-776-1350. Visit us at 2414 Casement Road in Manhattan, Kansas, or email frontdesk at 1350KMAN.com.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
James was diagnosed at 3 months old with neuroblastoma. We went from thinking we had a healthy 3-month-old little boy, all of a sudden he had this super serious cancer. It was heartbreaking. He had chemotherapy until he was just under a year old, and at that point he was in remission.
Went that way for a year and then relapsed February of 2023. And here we are 1 year later, finishing up treatment, hopefully.
The research is extremely important. The treatments that they're developing here get shared with all the doctors to help treat children worldwide.
It's contributing something like one more piece of the puzzle to curing this horrible disease. We all want the same thing. We all want our children to live, have long, meaningful lives.
Finding cures, saving children.
Learn more at stjude.org.
The Ramsey Show.
So I am 20 years old, straight out of high school. I moved to Phoenix, Arizona to start my own business selling furniture.
What does selling furniture look like?
So I go around picking it up, clean it up, take really good pictures, and sell it. I'll probably do about 100 grand this year net.
Wow. Some of you are standing around with your finger in your ear. And then you got a 20-year-old with a high school education that's making 100 grand flipping used furniture.
He's laughing all the way to the bank.
Financial advice for everyone. The Ramsey Show. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on News Radio KMAN. News Radio KMAN. Weather.
Thunderstorm ongoing right now in the Manhattan area. 89 degrees and wind out of the south at 9 miles per hour. Continued chance for thunderstorms and showers later on into the evening and overnight. Overnight, the chance at 80% with an overnight low of 71. Tomorrow, more showers and thunderstorms likely, mainly before 10 in the morning. That chance at 60%. After that, a clearing out of those clouds and a high near 89. Wednesday, sunny and a high near 92.
Jordan Hudson. I couldn't remember her last name.
I just kept on thinking Jordan Love, and I knew that was not right.
No, Jordan Hudson, the girlfriend of Bill Belichick and the assistant head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels football program, who is allowed, by the way, to be in the complex. There are rumors that she wasn't. She is granted access. Mitch Fortner, Cole Dutchendorf with you until 6 o'clock. Gamey Award nominations, part 1 at 5:10. 5:30-ish, K-State Classics with Cole. It's become one of my favorite segments, the 2002 USC game that had a star-studded broadcast team. Like, it is star-studded. Like, names you probably wouldn't expect to be a part of that broadcast. That's coming up about 5:30. Is there anything you want to say? I know you probably want to get a few things off of your chest before we get to another topic here. Is there anything you want to say about the NBA Finals? I was really bummed that my boy Tyrese Halliburton, he tore his Achilles in the first half. And with him, and even getting into halftime, I was feeling pretty good about the Pacers' chances. And that was the most NBA I watched all season long. But it got to a Game 7. Let's be real. Even if you're not the biggest NBA fan, it's Game 7. It's a championship series. It doesn't get a whole lot more interesting than that. And especially now with the parity of the NBA, I mean, there's a different champion every year now. It's the first 7 different champions in 7 years. That's never happened in NBA history. Okay, that's a bit intriguing for me. But as a wrestling fan, and I know Tyrese Halliburton is a huge wrestling fan, I was rooting for the guy. Big 12 guy, no doubt. Not even close. My favorite Iowa State Cyclone ever, Tyrese Halliburton. He tore his Achilles, and that changed things for the Pacers. But OKC, if you saw this on Twitter, somebody said this on Twitter, I thought it was funny. If you would have told people from Oklahoma back in 2002 that an NBA team will win a championship before Oklahoma wins their next in football, you'd probably call them crazy.
Yeah.
But the OKC Thunder get their first title.
No, I was not rooting for the Thunder. I mean, they dispatched of the Timberwolves pretty easily in 5 games. I don't think they're the most likable team in the world. Just the brand of basketball they play in terms of play super physical defensively, and then you can't touch them on the other end of the floor. I was devastated when Tyrese went down. This was something, even though I wasn't rooting for the Thunder, I wasn't necessarily rooting for the Pacers either. I just kind of wanted a competitive game. But once Tyrese hit a few of those 3, I mean, he started 3 of 4 from 3 just in the first quarter and went down. I didn't even think of anything of it. I thought he just slipped and fell and turned it over. And it's all right, next play. And the camera pans and he's still on the floor and he's hitting the floor. It was devastating. And they showed the replay, and it was pretty apparent that it was the pop that you saw. You had a calf strain coming into it, and you saw the pop that's very evident on an Achilles tear. And he immediately went down and knew it. He was hand was on the hardwood. You could read his lips. He was just saying no over and over again. It was terrible. I was super sad just for not only for him but also for the game of basketball, missing out on I mean, what looked like it was shaping up to be potentially a classic Game 7. There's only been 5 Game 7s in the past 30 years, one in the last 9. So it was a little anticlimactic. The Pacers, they held it together the first half, and then just kind of, it was the third quarter, really, where they had like 8-9 turnovers. The Thunder were scoring off those turnovers, and it was all she wrote.
It wasn't a very entertaining second half.
No, it wasn't. It was sad. And
who was McCollum?
TJ McCollum. My goodness.
You know,
that guy.
Tip the cap to the old Arizona Wildcat.
He's a beast.
He was trying to do all he could to put the team on his back.
There was one point for literally an entire quarter, from 8 minutes and 50 seconds left in the third quarter to like 7 minutes left in the fourth. Only TJ McConnell had scored for the Pacers.
Seems like. Yeah. See, in like the College World Series, like to me, it was a bit of a lackluster,
especially when the two
finish.
coaches got tossed in the first inning.
Yeah, and there was certainly an underdog in Coastal Carolina, and LSU was pretty lucky to be there in the first place. Arkansas really shot themselves in the foot.
Screwed the pooch a little bit in that second game.
In that second. That bottom of the ninth was really a disaster for Arkansas, and LSU wins another championship. They've now won their 8th in program history, second the last 3 years. Like the College World, honestly, and I'm not trying to justify fighting, but some of the most entertaining sports moments from this past week or weekend was in the WNBA. Tempers are flaring in the WNBA, circling around Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. They're not cool. And now teammates are starting to step up for other teammates. There was a player for Indiana. You want to talk about Indiana basketball. Caitlin Clark got into stuff for. She steps in for Caitlin Clark, gets in between two players and starts talking trash. That generated so much buzz, and she did it multiple times. And there was also a time that she started to get
at the very end.
And there was a hard foul where she started to get scrappy, and you were really close to punches thrown. The retaliation from fans is that Sophie Cunningham, her jersey sold out online. I mean, it generated more buzz than anything else, I thought, this weekend.
Well, there was a huge, Kevin Durant got traded on the day of Game 7.
Well, yeah, he's doing some panel. Was it
that was definitely, he definitely knew. There was no change. That was let's get him up here so we can get his quote-unquote reaction, as he's definitely known, at least for a couple hours that morning. But that was a crazy way to start Game 7 of the finals day. Also, the Suns, I don't know what in the world that organization is doing. But it was... I'm
losing track of where Kevin Durant is playing.
He's played at quite a few teams. This is number 5,
I believe. He's moving around a lot now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's number 5, and I think the Rockets are going to be really good next year, to be honest.
The other thing I wanted to bring up here real quick as we wrap up hour number 1 is that we have a decision looming here. And there's a lot of rumors flying around. I'm going to say be hesitant about buying into these rumors. They're kind of coming from a few familiar names, some names I don't necessarily familiar with. They're not exactly the same rumors. I'm just saying, let's wait and see. But it is the decision on what the Chiefs and Royals are going to do about future homes. Because what the state of Kansas has laid out, providing through the Star Bond, 70% of building new stadiums in the state of Kansas, that deadline is in a week. Now, the reason there's a deadline, well, first of all, there's leverage being played there by the state of Kansas. And also there's a bunch of government, politics, lingo, mumbo jumbo that, again, I need somebody that's, describe it to me like I'm 6 to fully understand what's going on. But there's necessary reasons why there is a deadline for June 30th. And so now there is a decision looming. So this is really the big headline that we need to be watching this week. What are the Chiefs and Royals going to do? The mayor of Kansas City, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but
Lucas.
Very optimistic. Very optimistic about the Chiefs are going to decide to renovate. The Chiefs are going to decide to stay at Arrowhead. Maybe it is more likely the Royals would decide to go to to the state of Kansas. But, who knows right now? Again, rumors are flying around, but a decision is most likely coming here very soon. If there's a decision to decide late, don't be shocked by that, but potentially this week. Because right now the Kansas deal is still on the table. I'm not sure what happens once June 30th rolls around and there's a decision not made at that point.
And it's going to be slow moving, like all of everything in politics and the courts or whatever it is. It's going to be slow. So I'm not really like holding my breath or anything, and then we'll just kind of see how it plays out. I think I mentioned this. I don't really care one way or another. We'll just kind of see. And actually, I'm seeing this is off topic. A severe thunderstorm warning issued for Geary, Potawatomi, Riley, and Wabaunsee. Radar indicated 60 mile an hour of wind and hail, but less than a quarter or 3/4 of an inch. That is, again, just issued by the Topeka severe weather.
Natural Weather Service in Topeka. So this is what we'd been anticipating, severe weather to pop up in our area. So let's go ahead and in hour number 1, we'll get to some local news here coming up in just a second. Plus, after our local news, we'll get that full update from Cole Dutchendorf about our severe weather coverage and what is now impacting the Flint Hills. So let's go ahead and wrap up hour number 1. Hour number 2 coming up next as you're listening to The Game.
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
The Louisville Garden Store is your one-stop shop for all your landscaping needs. With a wide selection of trees, shrubs, perennials, and annuals, we have everything you'll need to get your projects done right. Don't forget to browse our selection of fertile products to keep your lawn and plants healthy and problem-free all season long. While you're in, be sure to take a look at our indoor activities and decor. Louisville's Garden Store is open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 5. Come give us a visit at Louisville Nursery, where you'll always find a friendly smile and expert advice. Located at the corner of Scenic Drive in Anderson and Manhattan.
American Family Insurance.
At American Family Insurance, your small business is a big deal to us. You face challenges and you work hard to achieve your goals. As your American Family agent and business owner right here in your community, I've faced that too. I've built my business with the vision of helping you protect yours. Contact us today to see how we can protect what you've worked so hard to build with customized coverage that fits your needs. This is Rob Wild, agent at Wild & Associates, LLC.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Save big on your next project right now at Menards. Transform the look of your home with a new Ideal garage door. Choose from our large in-stock selection or design your own using our free Garage Door Designer. From traditional to modern, Menards has a garage door to enhance your home's appearance. Save big on Ideal garage doors. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
A new roof, not something you think about every day. Good thing Buck does. Call Buck Roofing for your free, no-obligation estimate today and live comfortably under your new roof. 785-230-9379. Buck Roofing, serving Kansas for almost 20 years.
The Native community is big for me. Makes me feel good to pass on our Arapaho traditions. My kids love going up to the Sundance. I like to tell people the Sundance is about family. It's about the tribe. It's not just about the dancer. It's kind of like life. As a Sundancer, I'm just one spoke in the wheel. I need my family there. I need my role models. I need my people there, especially my children. Coming in that door, my family is ready to see me and they believe in me. Before, I'd never seen that from my people. But now when I walk in that door and I see those smiling faces and they're happy to see me, that's special. With my 4 kids, all I ask for them in Arapaho ways is health and happiness. Nothing more, nothing less.
Never stop being a dad. That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
If you've missed the Kim Komando Show, you've missed a lot.
I want to know how to change Siri's name and voice.
You have to open up the Shortcuts app, select text, type "What can I do for you?" then the plus sign, then run a shortcut.
You got that, Ellen? Thanks for calling. I'm sure you're going to be able to do it in the next 5 minutes.
America's digital goddess.
Kim Komando. Kim Komando. Saturday mornings at 9 on News Radio KMAN. Manhattan's home for news, sports, weather, and talk since 1950. News Radio KMAN, Manhattan.
CBS News special report. Iran retaliated today for the U.S. strikes on its nuclear facilities. Margaret Brennan reports more than a dozen missiles were fired at a U.S. base in Qatar.
The United States and Qatar were able to be in communication well in advance of the attack actually being launched to prepare.
President Trump called it a very weak response, but Holly Williams reports the attack has many countries on edge.
Many countries here in the Middle East were deeply concerned by the U.S. strikes against Iran, even Saudi Arabia, Iran's arch rival. We assume that they are more concerned now.
House Speaker Mike Johnson today defended the strikes on Iran without notifying Congress.
The Commander-in-Chief has Article 2 responsibilities. They're very serious and important, especially in times like this. I think he used that authority judiciously.
Iran says the number of missiles it fired today matched the number the U.S. used over the weekend. CBS News special report. I'm Cammie McCormick.
Now, the latest news from the News Radio KMAN and Manhattan Mercury Newsroom.
Charges filed for an attempted murder in Pottawatomie County, a look back at Saturday's garden tour, and a preview at the City Commission's upcoming work session. I'm Bernie Pansella, and this is your 5 p.m. news update. An Onega woman was arrested early Sunday morning on a charge of attempted murder. According to the Pottawatomie County Sheriff's Office, 43-year-old Dana Bloom is accused of intentionally running over another woman with her vehicle following an argument. Deputies were called out just after 12:30 a.m. Sunday to the 20,000 block of Pauling Run Road north of Wamego. There, authorities found 52-year-old Kara Murray of Wamego suffering from serious injuries sustained during the incident. Murray was flown by helicopter to an area hospital for treatment. Her condition is unknown. Bloom was arrested and remains jailed in Pottawatomie County, awaiting bond to be set on a charge of attempted second-degree murder. The sheriff's office is continuing to investigate. 5 private gardens were featured over the weekend as part of the Riley County K-State Extension Master Gardener's 36th annual Manhattan Area Garden Tour. The Mercury's Lewis Martin reports for K-Man.
The tour, themed Blooms, Birds, and Butterflies, was free to attend, with $10 donations recommended to benefit K-State's gardens, which are celebrating 150 years in 2025. Frank Schmeidler and Ralph Diaz, who live on Kearney Street, appeared on the tour for the first time since 2012. Their garden is about 25 years old with a variety of plants. Visitors during Saturday's tour could expect to see lilies, Taylor juniper trees, Japanese maples, and hostas. Schmeidler said the longevity of the event, 36 years with more than 168 gardens showcased, is because of people enjoying gardening, yet they may not know what exactly they should or could be doing.
Going around and seeing what other people have done and in similar situations, I think it gives them a chance to kind of have an idea of what to do in their yards.
Other homeowners on the tour included Cynthia Webster and Fred Tennyson at Ridge Drive, Jim and Sally Lindquist at Sharingbrook Drive, Sarah and Christopher Ewer at Hickory Court, and John and Jelaine Cook at Timber Creek Parkway. Look for photos and a full story in Tuesday's edition of the Manhattan Mercury. For News Radio KMAN, I'm Louis Marion.
Thank you, Louis. A new parking lot and entrance was unveiled Saturday at Mount Mitchell, a nature park south of Wamego. The site is steeped in history as it was originally owned by homesteader Captain William Mitchell. The cabin house on the farm was used as a stop for the Underground Railroad. President of the Mount Mitchell Prairie Guards, Michael Stubbs, said the location was originally called Mitchell's Hill.
In 1953, the son of the pioneer abolitionist Captain William Mitchell, he gave the state the 30-acre hilltop with the intention that it become a public park to celebrate the Beecher Bible and Rifle Colony.
Prairie Guard board member Bruce Waugh.
The plans for the future are that the original Mitchell house that contains the space where the Underground Railroad actually took place after they came down through the hill. Our plans are to make that part of the park.
The site is a Freedom's Frontier National Heritage Area Star attraction and is a historic district on the National Register of Historic Places. Manhattan City staff will give elected officials a look behind the curtain at the 2026 budget planning process. The City Commission will hold a work session 6 p.m. Tuesday in City Hall. City Manager Danielle Doolin plans to provide an overview of the 2026 budget and assessed valuations. Doolin spoke about her approach to the budget during a recent appearance on Within Reason with Mike Matson.
Since we are not really in a growth mode and we're very much trying to bring our expenditures in line with those revenues that we're collecting, I will be presenting a draft budget, really kind of prioritizing those services based on conversations that we've had with commissioners and with our directors. Then we will take feedback. I have a couple different scenarios I'm probably going to pitch to them, strategies that we've been talking through.
A final draft of the budget is expected to be presented to the City Commission on August 12th.
News is powered by Central National Bank with locations at the Walmart Supercenter and at College and Claflin. Central National Bank, member FDIC.
This is a severe weather update from News Radio KMAN. Brought to you by Candlewood Veterinary Clinic. Do severe storms stress out your cat or dog? If the answer is yes, relieve your pet's anxiety with help from Candlewood Veterinary Clinic, caring for your pets like they're one of ours.
I'm Cole Dutchendorf with that severe weather update. Just minutes ago, a severe thunderstorm warning issued by the National Weather Service in Topeka. This is for Geary County, Riley County, Wabaunsee, and Potawatomi until 5:30 tonight, and we will continue to keep you updated. At 4:55, a severe thunderstorm was located 4 miles south of Manhattan, moving northeast at 25 miles an hour. There were 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts indicated on the radar. Expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Locations impacted include Manhattan, Ogden, and St. George. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Again, that was just minutes ago. A severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Geary, Riley, Wabaunsee, and Potawatomi. That is set to expire at 5:30, but we will continue to keep you posted right here on News Radio KMAN. We're going to send it back to the game next.
KMAN Daily Weather is presented by Fox Business Systems. How much does downtime cost you and your business? Don't let another second go by. Call Fox Business Systems at 776-1452.
Well, there you have it. Severe weather in the area. Cooled off a little bit outside. I say cooled off. I mean, the temperature dropped a little bit. What did you say the temperature's at right now?
Right now, we're at 72.
Yeah, okay.
So considerably.
It dropped, yeah.
That's we're talking
20
17
degrees.
in about an hour. So
okay,
yeah.
Wow. Well, it also got a little bit more humid out there as we got a ton of cloud cover.
Yeah, 91% humidity is where we're at right now.
How about that?
48-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and that's just on the National Weather Service. That's not even their severe thunderstorm warning. That's just 48-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
We had a whole weekend of weather, or a whole weekend of wind.
It felt
we'll
like
be okay. I mean, Lindsay wanted to put up, those like outside string of lights people put up. I'm not talking about like Christmas lights. Talking about the full-on bulbs.
Yeah,
they're really trendy. They've been trendy for a long time. And she bought some, and I was like, she wanted to put them up. I was like, all right, I'm down to help and all that. It was like super windy, and I thought about that. I was like, It sounds windy, but actually at ground level, it's not that windy. It's like up in the trees, it's super windy. We got it done, though.
We were getting blasted in Junction City, man. It felt like, and you look outside and it's sunny and there's not a cloud in the sky, and it feels like, 40, 50-mile-an-hour wind slamming against the apartment door, or not doors, but the walls. It was crazy.
Well, Cole's going to be keeping an eye on the severe weather, in our area, and taking a look at the radar. Right now, it's not like exactly on top of Manhattan. It's right now on top of Ogden. But it does appear it's weakening a little bit. But it's certainly on its way. St. George, Wamego, Wabaunsee, on the way, on the path of this storm.
Westmoreland for sure.
Yeah, Westmoreland in there as well. So we'll keep an eye on it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll let you know what's going on and everything. When does this expire?
5:30.
5:30. So for another 20 minutes. So if anything does pop up here in the next 20 minutes or so, or at any time while the show's on, Cole's going to break in and let us know the details. Well, Friday, it is our 6th annual Gamey Awards.
And my first annual.
Your first Gamey Awards. It's the first time you're a voter?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we'll start announcing. We just got an update from the National Weather Service. They are continuing the severe thunderstorm warning, which is reporting 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So that is the trigger that will issue a severe thunderstorm warning. We will have 12 awards to give out this year, and we're going to be announcing the nominations as the week goes on. We do have a full week of shows. Should have full shows with the exception of potentially Thursday, maybe a little bit of Royals overlap there. But we will have a full week of shows. We will not have shows next week. We are taking next week off. So it's like finishing off a season ourselves. With the Gamey Awards coming up on Friday. That'll be in the 5 o'clock hour. The second hour of the show will be dedicated for the Gamey Awards. And I can hear the
flood advisory.
Okay, give us the details if you don't mind once you get those pulled up. So once again, we're covering severe weather at the same time we're doing a show here. We got a bunch of stuff popping up here, so give Cole a second.
This is a flood advisory, again, from the National Weather Service in Topeka just seconds ago. Flood advisory in effect until 8:15 this evening. That's in Geary and Riley. Urban and small stream flooding caused by excessive rainfall is expected. This is portions of east central and northeast Kansas, including the following counties. It's just Geary and northeast Riley for right now. That will expire at 8:15. Looks like impacts including minor flooding in low-lying and poor drainage areas.
So there you go. Latest severe weather update from Cole Dutchendorf, which, by the way, took the opportunity to announce at Briggs Auto Lane on Friday that you are first cousins once removed with John Denver, and I thought that got the best reaction I've ever got from that announcement.
And there, I mean, it's, you know, at this point, it's becoming a little like I was at a dinner for a joint dinner between Farmhouse and I don't even remember what the sorority was. This was a couple of years ago at this point, but you were supposed to stand up and give a fun fact, and mine was, of course, I'm related to John Denver, and people were just kind of like, huh? I was like, okay. So I guess I wasted my fun fact on you guys. Should have gone with I hit a bunch of door frames with my head.
Is that another farmer or something?
Yeah, basically that's what it turned into.
I don't know what mine would be. Like if I was in college, because if this is pre Howard Stern, pre K-State, pre working here, I don't have a lot of cool stuff I can mention.
You related to like the bank robber or something, right?
Yeah, Jesse and Frank James. They're my cousins. Yeah,
I think that's pretty cool. Like, people know who they are.
I think I might get the same reaction. I might get crickets.
Well, if John Denver couldn't do it, maybe Jesse and Frank wouldn't get it done either.
I guess it depends on how educated folks are. Okay, so before we need to do another severe weather update, let's start out with our Gamey nominations. We'll do 3 awards each day leading up to Friday's awards. And once we have announced all the nominations for these awards, you'll be able to vote on Twitter. The people listening, you listening, if you want to get on the vote, I'll be tweeting them out on Thursday. That is 25% of the vote. It's like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, except your vote with the Gamey Awards means a lot more, way more, than the people that vote on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the regular folks, the fans. So as we do every Gamey Awards, we lead off with Best New Artist. Best New Artist. 3 nominations for Best New Artist. Number 1, and this is really no particular order. This is just the nominations. Number 1, nominated this year, Arizona State football.
Sure.
This is a newcomer to the Big 12. They were picked to finish dead last in the conference, and they won the Big 12. They represented the conference in the college football playoff and went to overtime with the Texas Longhorns.
And really, if it wasn't for a really crappy call, they probably would have beat them in regulation, or at least would have had a much better shot on the targeting call or the non-targeting call.
Yes, 100%. Also in overtime, Arizona State was 4th and forever.
That Engage 8 still, that's got to be haunting for Arizona State, man. Just drop back, please.
Our next nominee for Best New Artist for the 2025 Gamey Awards is Tara Davis Woodhall.
Okay. I like that one.
So back in early August, and we're talking over 10 months ago, she was announced as a new assistant for Travis Goddard. And a few weeks later, she went over to Paris and won a gold medal.
There you go.
Tara Davis Woodhall is up for Best New Artist. Have you met her?
I haven't. I just insanely cool what she did. I mean, that immediately going to K-State and then, hey, let's just win a gold medal too while we're at it.
And then our last nominee for Best New Artist is Jalen Daniels' Turnovers.
Jalen Daniels' Turnovers?
Turnovers. Best New Artist. Well, it's first of all, this is his first year.
I was thinking Jaden Daniels, and I was really confused why we were involving the Washington Commanders quarterback in this. I was like, okay.
No, talking about old Jalen from the Kansas Jayhawks this past football season. Turnovers cost KU the game, and as a K-State fan, this is a wonderful new addition to this team, especially if he's going to play a full season.
Mm-hmm.
I could not find his total number of fumbles, but he had quite a few. He had a couple against K-State in the second half. Yeah, big time. Big time. I mean, he gave K-State the football back to go kick the game-winning field goal and then fumbles on fourth down thanks to a very speedy BJ Payne.
Yeah.
But he also threw, I think it was 12 interceptions in 12 games.
He was definitely a little interception happy this year,
so
too.
Very turnover-prone. Jalen Daniels, who's returning. Got the NIL deal done. He's returning. All right, so those are your 3 nominees for Best New Artist. Our next category is Best Broken Record.
Okay. Now, are we talking broken record as in a record that is broken or something that was repeated this year? Don't want to sound like a broken record.
That's a great question. As in the record books.
Okay.
Broken
just clarifying
records.
For our audience.
No, that's a great question. Didn't even think about that. No, that's a great question. All right, so your 3 nominees for Best Broken Records. I mean, these are K-State records that were broken this past academic year.
This one should be, you would think this one will be pretty obvious to what the winner will be. At least I think so.
Okay.
My guess would be the Yoki would probably win this one.
Okay, well, that is one of the nominations. Aoka Lee becomes the all-time leading scorer in K-State women's basketball history. Among other records she has broken in her career, Aoka Lee becomes the all-time leading scorer. That was against Eastern Illinois back on December 3rd. But overall in her career, she finished with 2,533 points in 136 games, beating Kendra Wecker's record. That's hard to say. Kendra Wecker's, that's a tongue twister. 2,333 points in 128 games. So Yoki with the record. She played 8 less games than Wecker when she broke it, and finished with 8 more games than Wecker in their careers.
Had a couple of goats on the team this year, Aoka Lee and Gapcoat.
And then our next broken record. Okay, so there's really 2 records that I think go hand in hand. When I was putting this together, I couldn't leave one of them out. I'm putting 2 into 1.
Okay.
So it's DJ Giddens / the K-State offense, and we're talking yards per carry.
Yep.
DJ Giddens broke the individual season yards per carry. And how about this? The record holder was Darren Sproles, 2003 Big 12 champion, ran for nearly 2,000 yards, but 6.49 yards per carry for Sproles. That was broken by DJ Giddens, 6.55 yards per carry. And then as a team, this record, I predicted at the beginning of the year, before the season started, that this record would be broken, and it was. It is the team yards per carry. The previous record, 2016, 5.27 yards. This year's team shattered that record, 6.07 yards per carry.
So are we saying we got Mitch Stradamus here in the studio?
I know my stuff.
You do?
I mean, every year I'm predicting a record to be broken. And in the last 2 years, well, 2 of the last 3, no, hold on a second. Well, it would have been baseball because it was easy to predict the home run record, but I predicted that was 2 years ago.
Okay.
But anyway, which leads me to my next record, and that is K-State baseball single-season home run record was broken this year as the Cats hit their 90th, the record breaker, against West Virginia. That helped them win the series. That was a Seth Dardar grand slam. He went into the transfer portal, by the way. The team finished with 97 home runs this year. They beat the record by 8.
Triple digits would have been amazing. Would have loved to see it get to 100. But 97 is still incredibly impressive.
All right, we'll do one more award for today, announcing the nominations. Our last award today will be Best Director. There will be 4 awards. We'll call them the big awards. That'll have 4 nominations, not 3, 4. So 8 awards. We'll have 3 nominations, 4 awards.
Is this one of them?
will have 4 nominations, and this is one of them. Best Director, a.k.a. Best Head Coach.
Okay.
First up, in no particular order, Chris Kleiman, K-State football, 9 wins, records broken on the offense, including what we did not mention, Avery Johnson, 25 passing touchdowns. Look, let's be honest, across the country, that's not exactly the most impressive record to be broken, but it was still done. Again, 9 wins. Dylan Edwards, he's set to be running back number 1 now, thanks to a great rate bowl. I could go on, but again, Chris Kleiman.
Just a model of consistency.
Pete Hughes, K-State baseball, is up for Best Director for the 2nd year in a row. Last year, of course, made it to a super regional. This year, back to a regional. Just the second time in program history, K-State baseball's gone to a regional in back-to-back years. It's the first time for Pete Hughes in his career, back-to-back years. 2 more to go. Jeff Mitty, last year's Gamey Award winner for Best Director. Jeff Mitty is once again up for Best Director. Sweet 16, the first time in 23 years since that's happened. Made it to the 3rd round, beating Kentucky in a crazy overtime game on the road to reach the Sweet 16. 2 of the best players in women's basketball history on this year's team. Bring it into Myra Poindexter. Jeff Mitty up for Best Director.
You got to think there's a great chance he goes back-to-back, given that, at least in terms of postseason success, went 1 game further.
And last but not least, the final coach up for Best Director will go to, who do you think? You have a prediction?
I don't know if we're talking like K-State specific or if we're going broader than that. My vote would be Andy Reid. I love Big Red.
No, it's going to stay K-State.
Okay.
The last coach up for Best Director is Stu Burke.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The
Great
K-State women's golf coach.
And a really fun interview, too.
Yes, and of course led by Carla Bernat, but also had the individual Big 12 champion. Carla wins at Augusta National. She wins the NCAA Regional, and for the first time in program history, K-State women's golf made it to the NCAA National Championship.
He's got a real argument.
He does.
They stacked a lot of records this year.
Absolutely. I mean, it was the only team that made it to the finish line of the of all the other teams. So again, folks, you've heard these nominations. You get to vote on Thursday after our show wraps up at 6 o'clock. You'll get 24 hours to vote, and those votes will be taking place on Twitter. We'll have 3 more categories to announce nominations on tomorrow's show. But for now, we take a break. We'll have a severe weather update coming up from Cole and K-State Classics with Cole coming up next as we review the 2002 game against USC after these words.
Tweet the game, KMAN, or call 537-1350 and get in touch with the show. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Manhattan Parks and Rec Foundation is happy to announce a 2nd annual Star Spangled Spectacular Cardboard Regatta Race, July 4th from 8 to noon at Manhattan City Pool. Get the kids ages 5 to 14 ready for a splash of fun by building a boat with cardboard and duct tape and racing it across the pool. There'll be lifeguards on site, but don't forget your flotation device for added safety. We plan to set sail at 8 a.m., so come join the fun, Manhattan, and celebrate in style the Star Spangled Spectacular. Supplies and spots are limited, so get registered today at July4MHK.com. As the seasons change, our commitment to severe weather doesn't. No matter the time of year, we always keep you informed. Severe storms, flash floods, tornadoes, even blizzards. We track every storm to give you accurate, up-to-date information. We're always watching so you don't have to. News Radio KMAN, your trusted source for severe weather updates. When the storm hits, we've got you covered. Powered by Candlewood Veterinary Clinic, Manhattan Wrecker, Hummel Tree Service, and Tallgrass Windows. At Stormont Vale Health, high-quality care is right around the corner.
Stormont Vale is more than just a health system. We're your neighbors, dedicated to supporting the well-being of our community and the Flint Hills region. With our strong partnerships, including collaborations with the Mayo Clinic Care Network, other healthcare providers, and various community organizations, we're committed to offering personalized, high-quality care when and where you need it most.
Stormont Vale Health, high-quality care closer to home.
Standing at the edge of a rocky shore, You breathe in the cool, salty air, watching the sun disappear on the horizon. Across the globe, someone begins their day along a sandy beach, listening to the rhythm of the crashing waves. You each envision a world beneath the water, vibrant life in every imaginable form. Now, imagine it's all gone. What was once a place of wonder and beauty is now a dull, lifeless wasteland. Food, jobs, medicine, all gifts from the ocean, all gone. Time is running out to protect our oceans, and without our love, everything the oceans provide can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our oceans. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
The word father means a lot to me. Being that support system for them, and as a man, that's important in a child's life. I think men can be a little stubborn sometimes where they may want the help, they may not know how to ask. It's hard for a man to speak his emotions. Those tears, they mean something. In a Arapaho way, tears are water and water is life. And when you shed those tears, that's love. That's real love. Sometimes as dads, I think we're too hard on ourselves. Life can come at you really quick, and it can be really tough at times. But then you put that one foot in front of the other, and you keep doing the right thing. Slowly that voice goes away, you know? Arapaho way, you gotta pray for yourself, as well as for everybody else, but never forget yourself.
Never stop being a dad. That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The Ramsey Show.
The problem is the stupid banks will loan you so much money that they put you in bankruptcy because they don't have an off button. They'll just loan you money. You know, you can go get a credit card, you can go on a trip you can't afford, you can go down here and get a car. You know, there's actually people out there walking around that still think that if the bank will loan it to you, it means you can pay it. The same people that think if you have checks left in your checkbook, there must be money in the account. Same people.
Life and money advice. The Ramsey Show. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on News Radio KMAN.
This is a severe weather update from News Radio KMAN. Brought to you by Tallgrass Windows. Life is good. You should enjoy your view. Tallgrass Windows.
I'm Cole Betchendorf with that severe weather update. Just coming down from the National Weather Service in Topeka. They have expired that severe thunderstorm warning for Geary, Potawatomi, Riley, and Wabaunsee. I can speak first of the station. We're still getting hit pretty hard with this wind and the rain, but they have expired that severe thunderstorm warning. We do still have, however, the flood advisory, and that is in effect until 8:15 this evening. Portions of east central and northeast Kansas, including Geary and Riley. That's until 8:15. That's minor flooding in low-lying and poor drainage areas. But again, that severe thunderstorm warning that was issued at 4:55, that was in effect until 5:30, that has been expired for Geary, Riley, Wabaunsee, and Potawatomi County. We will continue to keep you posted right here on News Radio KMAN.
I see here that Robert Irwin, the son of the late Steve Irwin, has made a very special tribute to his dad. I don't think I can click on it and watch it. I will wet my face if I watch this.
And not from the rain that's going on outside.
No. Steve Irwin was the best.
Yeah, he was amazing.
And you remember him.
I know him enough in terms of either recognizing him when he was still here with us or just from the legend that he is, just as a person.
You were born what year?
03.
He died in 06. I can't believe it's been that long. Man.
So probably not much from when he was actually alive, but a lot of the myths and the legend that was Steve Irwin.
Like, I am convinced Steve Irwin is probably the coolest person that has ever lived.
He's for sure coolest out there, man.
I don't know.
No doubt.
I don't know a better way to explain who Steve Irwin was. Just the coolest guy.
Yeah.
I mean, the personality was intoxicating. He loved animals. He wasn't afraid of anything. I mean, the crocodile hunter. I mean, he held, I think it was either Robert or Bindi, held a baby while he fed a crocodile, just a crazy badass. And then a stingray killed him. Broke my heart. Ruined my
tragic,
day, ruined
really.
my week.
Really?
It was a terrible day on September 4th of 2006. Steve Irwin, the best. Okay. Well, this has become one of my favorite segments of the week, and we kind of do it twice a week, but Monday is the review day. We found out on Friday by a random drawing what Cole's next game would be to watch for the first time in his life. Guys, he is still a puppy. And no doubt about it in this business. The ears are, still wet. Is that what they say, wet behind the ears?
Something like that.
Is that what the people say? Whatever the folks say about people being young.
I'm that.
He was not around to watch all these K-State classics that we grew up knowing, loving. We still see the highlights to these days and to this day. And now we review one of those great games that I think is certainly remembered for one moment. But what was the rest of the game about? Does it stand up as a classic game? It's time to review K-State versus USC in 2002, which I also rewatched over the weekend. But this is Cole's segment. He's going to tell us his review and some things he took away from the game. So we'll start with Cole, and you lead off where you want to start.
It was a game that K-State really dominated for about 84% of the duration of it until a really bad call late in the game on the drive that would have iced it for K-State, which we'll get to later. But they were well in control of this game for basically the entirety of it until late in the fourth quarter. You mentioned the star-studded cast. Man, Ron Thulin, who I believe has already been the play-by-play guy for one of the games we've done. I don't remember which one it was, but I believe he was one of them. Was there one on Fox?
Yeah, it would have been the 2000 Nebraska game.
Yes, it was Ron who was on that one as well. And then Charles Davis, who is currently like CBS's number 2 color guy with Iron Eagle, I believe, behind Tony Romo and Jim Nance.
He was also doing, for a while, he was doing games with Gus Johnson on Fox. Like, we'll have some K-State games in 2012 come up where he does.
Charles, I really like him. I think he's really good at what he does. I've always enjoyed listening to him. And then sideline reporters, man. We're taking a step up in the legend category because we got Craig Sager, who I'm most familiar with from feuding with, and I say feuding, with Kevin Garnett on his ties when he was getting interviewed for the NBA games, telling him that he needs to take his suit and burn it. Some funny moments with Kevin Garnett. And then also Aaron Andrews, who's a legend in her own right and still doing it. So, I mean, you're talking about a 4-headed monster. And also, Ernie Johnson back in the studio.
Yeah.
We're talking about a really, really good cast.
That was super loaded.
For TBS.
Yeah.
I mean, the sideline reporting was about as good as it gets for a sporting event. A couple of big-time hits to start the game for K-State. Terry Pierce, man, I loved watching this game. I could have watched him alone and probably been entertained. He was all over the field, it felt like, and he rocked the running back on the second play of the game. The Bill, by the way, was rocking. They were loud. I don't know if it's just because the crowd mic was like pumped up a little bit, but the band was louder. There were chants that were definitely a lot more audible, like in this game, than maybe some of the other games or even games that I go to now, where it's like either this crowd was just better or the crowd mics were definitely amped up a little bit. At times you couldn't hear what Ron and Charles were saying, and I was okay with that. I was like, let me hear this atmosphere. It was amazing. Blocked field goal for USC stopped the first drive of the game for K-State, stopped them from scoring early.
Well, I think it's pretty easy to sum up like that first quarter. It was just 3 and outs.
It was bad.
It was not a great start to that game.
It was really sloppy from both offenses. Part of that is these were 2 really, really good defenses on both sides of the ball.
Well,
like, you don't want to put too much of this on the offense when you're playing 2 generational defenses.
Well, if I remember right, like both offenses were like, because K-State, again, I think we mentioned this on Friday. So K-State entered this game not exactly the favorite because they'd played a soft non-conference, and then last year, only winning 6 games. USC's a top 15 team. They're like number 11 or number 12 in the country. K-State just peaks into the top 25, but they played Western Kentucky, Louisiana Monroe, and Eastern Illinois out of the gate. So you have 2 teams there that are FCS. So Bill Snyder was criticized for this non-conference schedule heading into this game against USC. So K-State had a lot to prove. And what they proved right out of the gate was that this is a really, really tough defense, which if you remember 2002, yeah, if you remember a lot about that or remember very little, I think what you still remember first is that K-State defense they were a mob. They were dangerous. They hit hard.
It was like 5.3 points per game through their first 3 games, which isn't the craziest given that the teams you just listed off. But this is a really, really good USC team who I looked back. I believe they finished 4th in the nation, and they held them to 20 points, and 6 of those were from the defense on the scoop and score, which we'll touch on a little bit later as well. And 7 of them shouldn't have been on the board because of that terrible fumble call late in the game.
That USC team played in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, they were really, really good. They only lost to K-State and Washington State was top 10 team throughout the entirety of the season. So this is a really good Trojan team. A lot of talent, and K-State handled them. This defense manhandled this USC offense through the first 3 quarters and 5 minutes. It was bad.
2 very familiar names on that USC offense. Carson Palmer's your quarterback. He went on to win a Heisman Trophy, played in the NFL. Mike Williams, a wide receiver, I don't think he had a great game. I'd have to go back and look at the numbers. Didn't have a great game, but he went on to play in the NFL for a long time. He was a Heisman finalist in 2003. So you have almost 2 Heisman Trophy winners on this USC offense.
Like, really good. And K-State made them look silly for the first, again, 84% of this game, basically until there was 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. K-State got hit with the halo violation early in the game. The crowd did not like it. You mentioned this context last week. Troy Polamalu crushed Aaron Lockett the year prior, which led to the introduction of the halo rule, which basically is like a defender can't be within 2 yards of the punt returner before he catches it.
Yep.
K-State got hit with one, which I was like, it didn't look like a flag, and but the crowd was not happy with it, both because they probably A, didn't think it was a flag, and then also B, they're part of the reason this entire situation between these two teams is part of the reason why this rule is in existence. Neither offense could get it going early in the game. Then a muff punt by Terrence Newman gave USC by far their best field position of the day. This is in the second quarter at this point. I wrote down again, this is 2 Terry Pierce mentions in the first 15 minutes of the game. He's a bad man. That's all I wrote. Terry Pierce was a bad man. I don't even remember what play sparked this one, but he was disgusting. And also just the entire front 7 was downright nasty for K-State. They were in Carson Palmer's grill all day long. Carson Palmer's stats from this game are horrendous. 18 for 46, 186 yards and 1 touchdown, just an 80 rating. That's just terrible for again, a Heisman winner. 18 for 46. That's about as bad as you can get from a completion percentage perspective.
By the way, Terry Pierce, just one thing real quick. I mean, that was a bad dude when he got on campus. Like, this is a former Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year, Terry Pierce. Like, he was good from the get-go when he got here to K-State in 2000.
He was electric to watch. I didn't realize Tiger Woods' dad went to K-State. That might just be some bad listening on my part over the years, but I found that out in this game. Earl Woods.
Okay.
TBS followed the punt with the camera. Like the ball in the air, the camera would go up and down. I kind of liked it, but also kind of hate it. I feel like I'd watch it and like throw up a little bit. Like, it was super disorienting.
I remember that too. I remember those old TBS broadcasts. Like, They tried to do different things with the camera. And I remember another thing they used to do is, like, let's say the ball's at the 1 yard line. You got a goal line play coming up.
They'd go from behind?
No,
they did that on one of the punts.
Yeah, they would do that on special teams plays.
Okay.
They would shoot the play from the end zones. But on a goal line play, they would shoot the play from the goal line.
Okay.
Fox Sports Net kind of did the same thing, too. I don't know if that was just a short era thing to try to change things up with camera shots.
I respect trying to innovate that. I remember there was one game, I don't remember if it was Sunday night or Thursday night, where they did like a Madden cam where it was like behind, it was the Steelers and the Titans, and they had it as if you were like playing Madden. I thought it was really interesting to watch a game like that. You can see everything instead of just basically the line of scrimmage. I thought that was cool. Anyways, I digress.
Well, I prefer the bird's eye view. Like, I would rather sit, like, has nothing to do with like air conditioning or heat or whatever. I'd rather sit at the 6th floor of the press box and look down compared to like sitting at like the 3rd row 50-yard line.
That's definitely true. I would agree with that. Dunn started the game. I didn't even get his first name.
Mark
Dunn started the game at quarterback. L. Roberson replaced him in the second quarter. They said on broadcast that Roberson, there was like rumors about him having a broken hand. He had his left hand gloved up, but he came in and really had a heck of a game. Like you wouldn't have been able to tell. After a first couple of maybe out-of-rhythm throws, he was really good throughout that game. A lot of self-inflicted wounds on both sides in the early stages of this one. There was a lot of penalties on K-State, obviously pretty uncharacteristic for a Snyder team, and then a lot of drops and blown assignments for USC. They had like 7 or 8 drops in this game. They had 4 of them in the first quarter and change. And it felt like every single time they dropped back to pass, immediately there was someone in Carson Palmer's lap. I don't know if that's just because the front 7 was so good, or a part of it was USC maybe wasn't executing as well as they could have been.
Yeah, again, like the classic status for this game, again, it's known for a play, but there was quite a bit of this game. It was messy and just good defense.
It wasn't the cleanest game on the offensive side, but these are, again, 2 really, really good defenses going at it. You mentioned Taco Wallace to me last week, got his first sighting in the second quarter on a reverse. That led to by far the best drive of the game for K-State, ended in the made field goal, so 3-0. And then immediately a fumble forced by K-State, 29-yard pass to Taco Wallace again, and then they punched it in with the Roberson QB sneak. So 10-0 with 3 minutes left. I think probably another 3-and-out for USC. And really, they were going to just take it into the locker room and sit on a 10-0 lead. I was honestly super okay with that. I probably would have done the same thing. I don't think they had all 3 timeouts, and they were at like the 20-yard line of their own 20-yard line. So instead, they go with it's third down, I believe, too, is the worst part of this. They fake the run. They basically ran like 3 pitches in a row, and then on this third down, they fake it. L. Roberson kind of gets blindsided from behind him to the left side. It's too loose with the ball, drops it, scoop and score, touchdown. So 10-6 with like 30 seconds left in the second quarter.
I think it was more like 15 seconds left.
It was very late in this first half. But then you mentioned it. That's the Terrence Newman. He doesn't block it, but he picks it up and runs it 97 yards for the 2-point conversion, and the Bill was rocking. Or then, which I had never heard this, Wagner Field. I had never heard of that before this game, so that was super interesting. I've heard of KSU Stadium, obviously.
Wagner Field at KSU Stadium, yep.
Wagner Field was rocking. It was super loud and a cool play. And Terrence Newman, they showed a graphic later in this game. They had like 5 100-meter champions. Terrence Newman in the Big 12, one of USC's player in the Pac-10, and then 3 USC players had won a 100-meter dash in high school, 97, 98, and 99. So they had 5 100-meter champions in one form or another on the field at the same time. I thought that was crazy. Carson Palmer was terrible in the first half, 8 for 22 for 45 yards. This is a serious defense from K-State.
K-State brought pressure. Back then, if you know, obviously, who I guess it would have been a different defensive coordinator then. Oh, gosh, now I'm blanking on who that would have been. I know, like, Brett Bielema, so that would have been his first season as the offensive coordinator, like co-offensive coordinator, but, now I'm blanking on who the defensive coordinator would have been. Anyway, go ahead. K-State was still bringing pressure. They were getting a lot of chaos in the backfield.
Very good. This is a clip I pulled from some fan interviews that I think were before the game, but the second one especially just cracked me up.
We're going to show the Pac-10 that they got nothing on the Big 12. We got this beautiful cup. Look at this, full of refreshment. I was talking to Bill Snyder last night. He took me out for dinner. I said, Bill, what are our chances against USC? Bill was like, Gavin, we have a great chance.
I was just cracking up at that. Gavin, we got a great chance.
Wonder what that guy's up to these days.
It was I mean that tickled me. I thought that was extremely funny.
Probably running a Napa somewhere.
That's definitely a possibility of that. I need to find back where I'm at.
So we're probably going into the second half now.
Muffed kick to start the second half. USC ball. Turns out Terry Pierce is a better linebacker than he was a kick returner because he was the one who ended up muffing it. It was a
short kick.
Yeah, it was a pooch. That was a lot of it in this game.
It was actually a heck of a
really
call
good
there because it was like a sky-high pooch kick.
It was perfect.
And when it came down, you got muffed, and USC was right there to recover. It was a great call, great execution, really.
Both teams used the timeout within a minute and a half of the second half starting. I just noted that out because that's pretty rare. You don't see that too often. And USC literally 9 seconds in. It was right after the muff punt timeout, and they talked things over on offense. I don't even remember what happened on that drive, but USC does not score. Roberson, man, he was shifty. I talked about, and I'll talk about Sproles because he was a lot of fun to watch. But Roberson, he had some moves in the backfield.
Well, and I gotta point something out here because they showed a lot of option, a lot of play action. Like it looks like they're gonna run option, but it turns into play action.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed this as well. There was a couple of plays where there's some RPOs.
Yeah.
Or I should call it OPOs. It was either option, pass option. Like if that makes sense, they're either going to run an option, but instead on the run down the line, Roberson either hits the slot receiver or somebody to that side of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like some
it was
RPOs before
to watch.
RPOs was really a thing.
Again, the K-State defense was flat out nasty. Through 47 offensive plays, USC had 99 yards. So you can do the math. About 2 yards per play. That's really bad. After another 3-and-out for USC, they had like at least 10 punts in this game. A terrible punt. This one was 13 yards. Set up K-State deep in Trojan territory before they'd even taken a snap at the 30-yard line of USC. Talking about punting and you end up at the opposition 30-yard line. That's a terrible punt. Wildcats capitalize immediately a pass to tight end Thomas Hill, and then Sproles runs it into the end zone shortly after. Another stop for K-State. USC started 0 for 14 on third down. That was, the biggest part of the game is K-State dominated on third down on the defensive side of the ball. L. Roberson had a nice little block on Troy Polamalu. They got it out. It was going to be a reverse end around, and they were going to try to pass it. And Roberson found Polamalu because there was no one open down the field. Wisely, I don't even remember who it was who had it for K-State, but he wisely decided to not throw it down the field. And Roberson kind of got under Polamalu and took him out of the play. So I like that. Love to see a quarterback who gets dirty with the fellas.
Especially against one of the best linebackers in the game.
And a legendary safety and a Hall of Fame safety in the NFL in Troy Polamalu. Another touchdown for K-State, 27-6 to James Terry. He was able to walk in backwards because the cornerback gambled. Kind of had to.
It was a close play.
It really was. It was very close to being an interception, but a pretty good pass from Roberson right on target and another touchdown. 27-6. Updated Palmer stats at this point, 11 for 32 for 79 passing yards with 14 minutes to go in the fourth. He really had a
Heisman Trophy
game.
winner. Yep.
Yeah, and they made him look silly. USC's average third down yards to go through 3 quarters was 11.2.
God.
And they had a lot of them. It wasn't like that's on 3 of them. They were 0 of 14. That's a crazy mark to have. Overrated chance from the crowd with about 13 minutes to go, and this one nearly backfired on him, but it didn't.
Yeah,
it didn't. It took 50 minutes, but USC finally scored their first offensive points of the game on a pretty solid drive. They converted on a 4th and 10 at one point. This is following a Darren Sproles fumble, and this one actually was a fumble. They did knock it out. This was a true fumble. USC, I mentioned this, they had another drop on this next drive. I think they actually scored, but they had so many drops in this game. A lot of them would have moved the chains, like big-time drops. Despite that, they turned the 27-6 game into 27-20 with still a ton of time, 6 minutes and 31 seconds, thanks to a rushing touchdown from about 30 yards out from McKenzie. And then for K-State, 8 straight runs, 2 from Sproles, 1 from Daniel Davis, and then 4 for Roberson, and it ended with 5 on his last run. Put K-State well into USC territory late into the fourth. They were trying to ice it.
But
the last one was a fumble.
Yeah.
I thought it looked like his knee and elbows were down, and they still called it a fumble, which they didn't have a review, I don't think.
And I thought we were still 3 seasons away from reviews. I thought he was down. The ball rolled all the way to the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
It was an absolute dog pile in the middle of the end zone, and somehow USC got on top of it. And boy, I tell you what, if there's a comparison between this game and the one we reviewed last week, which was the 2011 Miami game, this is a game where K-State's in control and they're starting to blow it.
Yeah,
and they're giving the other team
we're talking
great
about
opportunities
a
to go
21-point
win
lead
it.
in the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
and they nearly lost it because USC had the ball down 7, trying to tie or take the lead if they wanted to go for 2. With still 3 minutes left, I don't think they might have had 1 timeout. I think they had 1 timeout left. They got it down to about the 40-yard line in K-State territory and stalled out in large part because of a 3rd down sack from Melvin Williams and really the entire K-State defensive line. They all collapsed the pocket completely. And then an air-mailed pass. It was like 10 yards over the nearest wide receiver for USC. on fourth down, gave K-State the ball and the game. I thought this was one of the best games in terms of just the product that was on the field. Despite the sloppiness from the offensive sides, it was really a good, hard-fought game. A lot of great defense in this one, and a fun one to watch. And definitely the classic game, the crowd was phenomenal, and the broadcasting crew.
Yeah, and there was a ton of talent from that team, that 2002 team on the defensive side that would end up returning and playing in the 03 season. A lot of the offensive line for K-State was back that next season and played in 03. Obviously, Sproles and Roberson and Terry. Taco Wallace did graduate that year, but there was just so much talent that was going to return for 2003. 2003 actually ended up, Roberson got hurt, of course, won the Big 12 championship, but didn't win as many regular season games. This K-State team in 2002 ended up going 11-2. They won the bowl game against Arizona State. But that defense, I mean,
it was insane.
You never mentioned Bobby Walker. You never mentioned Rashad Washington. Like, these are names that never even got mentioned, but were still a big part of that game that went on to have some pretty solid careers at K-State. Ended up going to, like, Rashad Washington played in the NFL. You obviously mentioned Terrence Newman. Never mentioned Tank Reese, who I thought was a pretty big factor in that second half, especially in that fourth quarter of making some plays in the backfield. I don't know if you ever mentioned Randy Jordan, James McGill.
Really good defense.
Oh, God. Josh Buell. Like, Josh Buell, I don't know if it ever got brought up, and he was a part of that defense. Mm-hmm. Like, that was just one of the best defenses.
This is a team that scored the second most points at this time in K-State history offensively, and also held teams to like 12 points per game, which is insane.
So, final score, K-State won that game. That was a big moment for the season, obviously, because USC was number 11 in the country, really good offensively. You hold the best, maybe the best offense in the country to 20 points. And then K-State proved themselves, and they shot up the rankings to number 13 from number 25. And then, of course, ran into Colorado. A lot of mistakes were made. That Colorado game is not in the bucket, by the way, in the hat. That was a tough one. That was a tough one. Beat Oklahoma State, then ended up losing to Texas at home. Like, there were so many
missed opportunities.
What ifs about that 2002 season, because that was a really good team. They ended up finishing, I think they were a top 5 team, maybe sixth in the nation when the season came to an end. That was a team that probably should have challenged for a national championship.
They were really good.
That was one of the best teams, certainly. All right, that's K-State Classics with Cole. We will find out We'll find out Cole's next game on Friday in our first hour, because we'll have the gamies.
Sure. In
the second hour on Friday. K-State Classics with Cole will continue on Friday. So it's a classic? Would you say it's a classic?
Oh, yeah. I think that was one of the probably top 2 games that I've watched so far.
We'll take a timeout. We'll wrap it up. Ask Us Anything next.
Your home for K-State sports.
Walker's going to run to the bucket, lay it in, and the Cats will win it by 7. K-State comes to Iowa City and stuns number 2 Iowa.
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
That's the sound of flimsy vinyl or polymer siding giving way under pressure. Would you trust something like that on your home's exterior? You invest time and effort into making your home beautiful inside and out. You choose quality pieces that last. So why settle for siding that's essentially plastic? Vinyl or polymer siding can crack in extreme weather, fade like a forgotten photograph, and even warp, leaving your home looking less than its best. Now imagine the satisfying strength and lasting beauty of steel. Midland Exterior steel siding is the equivalent of choosing a timeless, well-crafted piece for your home's exterior. It resists cracking, warping, and fading, maintaining an elegant look and protecting your investment for up to 50 years. Don't let flimsy siding detract from the beauty and value of your home. Upgrade to the enduring strength and sophisticated style of steel siding from Midland Exteriors. Call us today for a free consultation at 855-735-8255 or see the beautiful difference at midlandexteriors.com. That's 855-735-8255 and midlandexteriors.com.
Information you can use in an ever-changing healthcare environment. America's healthcare advocate, Carrie Hall, Saturdays on News Radio KMAN.
We're here to educate and inform on the topic of healthcare and health insurance. We've partnered with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas to bring you these shows to educate you on healthcare and health insurance issues. That's why we're doing these shows here on America's Healthcare Advocate.
Join Carrie Hall, America's healthcare advocate, Saturday mornings at 7 on News Radio KMAN. This is a severe weather update from News Radio KMAN, brought to you by Hummel Tree Service, whose team of tree whispering heroes will chop and trim their way to perfection, leaving your trees looking so good, the birds will even want to move in.
Just one last update on that severe thunderstorm warning that was issued at 4:55 that has officially expired at 5:30. That was for Geary, Riley, Wabaunsee, and Pottawatomie County. So that is no longer in effect. There is still some weather popping up on the radar, but nothing officially warned yet in terms of from the National Weather Service in Topeka. One more thing to note, flood advisory still. This is in effect until 8:15 this evening. Minor flooding in low-lying and poor drainage areas. Those are the last two updates that we have to give for that weather for now. All right, today I just want to go simple. It's National Detroit-Style Pizza Day.
Okay.
So I'll ask Chicago, Detroit, or New York style.
New York. Simple.
I figured with the roots to New York City.
Absolutely. Deep dish is fine. I hear that's more for the tourist. Detroit style is pretty good. It's weird.
I'm honestly not too. It's just like rectangular. I know is part of it. It's
a
little bit deeper, but it's not like Chicago deep.
Cut
right?
in squares. It basically goes like the sauce is on top of the cheese or something like that. I have to take a look at a picture to really describe it well. But typically, like it either comes in cheese or pepperoni, maybe sausage or whatever. But it's good. Lindsay was like really in favor of for a while. Like Pizza Hut was making a Detroit style pizza, and I had it. It was good.
I think I've actually have had that one, but I feel like there was like a thin crust at Pizza Hut where it was not necessarily like the Detroit style that I at least looked up earlier in terms of it was very thin. So maybe that wasn't that Pizza Hut. I could be thinking of a different chain as well.
Yeah, I gotta take a look at this just to. Yeah, a little bit of sauce on top. Yeah, I think that's like the big key there, and it's got to be square or rectangle. That's all right. New York though. Thin pizza, but big slices.
Would you say that's where you've had your best pizza?
Yes,
in New York?
No doubt about it. And I've been to Detroit, I've been to Chicago, I've been to New York City, I've had the pizza. New York, absolutely. And every block or two in NYC has a great pizza place. All right, we got to wrap it up. We're back for 2 hours tomorrow. No Royals tonight. They're off for like the third or fourth straight Monday. For Cole, I'm Mitch. Go Cats.
Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Center offers innovative, cutting-edge physical therapy, from blood flow restriction rehabilitation, dry needling, DARI-A biochemical movement analysis, fall prevention, and return to sport. OSMC Physical Therapy has over 75 years of combined treatment experience and deliver a successful and positive outcome while making the rehabilitation process pleasant and enjoyable. At Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Physical